Well, I got a new mic, and it's somewhat better than my other one. It'll require a bit more editing because of how quiet it is, and there might be some white noise. But other than that, it's fine. So to test it out, how about a rant? Now, if you enjoy this certain piece of fiction, stop watching, because I don't. I simply think, why? Just why? What has caused the gods of fiction to bring this down upon us? This insult to myths everywhere. Yes, I'm talking about the crapfest Twilight. Now, I haven't read the books, and I haven't seen the movie. And you know what? I don't plan to, because I fear my manhood might shrivel and become food for actual non-sparkly vampires. I know a couple of people who like these books. Guess what gender? And at first I was indifferent. I didn't care. I had never read them. But then I did a bit of research on them. Then I realized that these books were more of an abomination than the actual vampire. Now, there is going to be spoilers in this, so if you do like the books, and you don't want to be spoiled, just go away. Stop watching. Let me start off by saying that Stoker and Polidori are both rolling in their graves, trying to come up with a logical reason as to why such a bastardization of vampires could have possibly gotten so popular. Wait, I know why. Because teen girls everywhere fall head over heels at anything that slightly resembles a love story. Throw in a handsome, sparkly vampire, and then it just explodes. Seriously, I'll get to that later. The way I see it, vampires are supposed to be either extremely mindless or extremely intelligent. Let's look at Dracula. Aside from his need to make you die, he seemed to be very cultured and intelligent. Then on the other hand, you have the instinctive vampires who just want to drain your blood. In Twilight? No. The main cast of vampires are, and I kid you not, I could not make this up, vegetarian vampires. Does that make any sense? No. They feed on animals instead of humans, and that's why they consider themselves vegetarians. What kind of bullshit is that? Are they too good for us or something? Do they take the fact that they sparkle to new heights and assume that they should be worshipped? No. It's because Stephanie Meyer, however the hell you pronounce her name. Anyway, Stephanie has never read anything about vampires. Vampires should not be teenage sweethearts that sparkle. Yes, the vampires in this sparkle. Let's use Edward, the main vampire sweetheart, as an example. Edward essentially says, fuck vampire laws, I want to be Blade. But, because he's a pussy, and not testosterone, physically manifested as a large black man who will rip your arm off and beat you to death with it, he sparkles in sunlight. Okay, maybe that's not the reason why, but I like to think it is. But for some reason, probably again because she's never read any vampire fiction, Stephanie made the vampires sparkle in sunlight. See, that just doesn't happen. Vampires are supposed to cower from sunlight because they will die. They will catch fire and die. Not sparkle like someone threw glitter at them, then shined a bunch of 5 billion watt lights at them. And let's look at the plot. Now, I'm going off of what my research, aka 5 minutes of Googling, has told me, and Wikipedia. So, if anything is wrong, I don't care. Seriously, these books shouldn't even have plots. The first book. Teenage girl falls in love with teenage vampire. They're attacked by teenage vampire's evil cousin's brother's dog's owner's best friend, who seems to be the closest thing to a real vampire because he wants the teenage girl's blood. Teenage girl gets stabbed or some shit, and is rescued by teenage vampire. How does that make any sense? It doesn't, because teenage vampire sparkles. Enough said. Second book. Teenage girl gets depressed, shit happens, she meets a bunch of werewolves who don't eat her. I'll save that for another rant. Instead they try to save her from teenage vampire's evil cousin's brother's dog's owner's best friend's ex-lover, who's an insane psycho bitch. Teenage vampire goes to commit suicide. Teenage girl, unfortunately, stops him. They make up. Is the third one any better? No. No it isn't. The teenage vampire's evil cousin's brother's dog's owner's best friend's ex-lover, who is an insane psycho bitch, creates an army of pussy, sparkly vampires, which requires the teenage vampire's family and the teenage werewolf's family to join forces to battle this evil army. Teenage girl picks teenage vampire over teenage werewolf. Werewolf leaves to go die in a hole somewhere. What compelled her to write this? The last book, which makes probably the least sense of all. Teenage girl is married to teenage vampire and is pregnant. Teenage girl nearly dies because her child is a damper, however you want to say it. It makes no sense as to why that's why she nearly dies, but whatever. So teenage vampire injects his venom into teenage girl to make her a vampire. Shit happens, more sparkling. That's it. That's the end. They sparkle happily ever after. Why? And another thing. I can accept dampiers. Why? Because Rain and Blade are dampiers, and they are awesome. But also because we need a way to describe the bastard child of a vampire father and a human mother. But guess what? Edward isn't a dampier. He's a vampire, in a family of vampires, that consider themselves vegetarians. Yeah. And at what point are you so bored that you, a man, decide to go see a romance film about a sparkly vampire? Go watch the original Rambos, or the original Rockies, or Terminator 1 and 2, or Die Hard, or Blade, or fuck it, even a Steven Seagal movie. Anything other than this. Hell, go play Superman 64. At least that game got Superman sorry, I can't say that with a straight face. But at least he didn't sparkle. And to all you fangirls watching this, and I know you will be, because Twilight is going to be one of the tags, and you all just have to watch everything that mentions Twilight. I know. I know Twilight fangirls. Anyways, to all you fangirls watching this, typing up your angry comments about how I am a mean, mean man that should be hit with a stick, that doesn't respect good books. 'Kay. I get the feeling I will sound like a complete asshat while I edit this recording, and if so, mission accomplished. Because I loved vampire fiction as a kid. And this piece? This piece killed my father, married my mother, and sparkled all day long. Anyways, now that that's off my chest, how about an update? The fact that I have this new microphone means I can continue PC LPs. I won't be able to get a new tuner for a while, so I'll have to stick with pre-2005 PC games. Reasons being that between the game and fraps, I can get hard on a PC. So right now I plan on doing Land of the Dead, Road to Fiddler's Green, Painkiller, and possibly Blood Rain 2. So expect those soon. Until then, remember, if someone asks you to go see Twilight, start eating a carrot and tell them you can't, because you are a vampire that will sparkle if exposed to shitty movies.